So either you are or you will be experiencing new growth in unexpected places and potentially in unexpected ways. Okay. So for those of you who paid attention to the thumbnail on this video, that is kind of I'm hearing eclipsing message, meaning there's like a hidden message behind it, right? But it was just like the peak. So that could be significant for some of you, okay? Just the peak. Let me give you a little backstory to that, why I took that picture. Which then, like I said, I feel like was a catalyst to channel this message, or to this channel message. So I've had that snake plant, like I have a bigger snake plant that's downstairs in the dining room, but that particular, it was a cutting, right, of a snake plant, of that same snake plant, but that cutting has been there on my altar for, over a year, right? And I had just, stuck it in the dirt, right? And I water it every so often because, snake plants, as some of you may or may not know, they're very low maintenance plants, but they're really, really great for purifying the air in your space, but also more importantly, they absorb negative energy, right? And so that's why I put the cutting on my altar in particular. But not only that, when I had plants here on my desk, and maybe because of all the cards I have, or whatever like that, even though I cleanse my space very regularly, it just seems like things would more so die quicker than they would live, right? Or they would die quicker than or longer. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they would seem to die quicker, right, than they would be alive. So it just, it was just like, oh, this isn't working, type of thing. So I've had that there, and all of a sudden I just, the other day, I feel like it may have been, I want to say it was probably the day after my solar return, which was on this past Saturday. So shout out to my birthday twins. Okay. But I happened to notice that very little small piece of growth there. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that would happen. I just assumed that, the cutting itself would just grow legs. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really have an expectation, I should say, of any new growth. But the fact that it started its own little new growth on the side of that let me know that as long as it's been, I didn't realize that my watering it, even if it wasn't, obviously you're not supposed to water them every day because they're so low maintenance, they don't need to be drowned in water. So I didn't realize that just the little effort that I had been putting in was actually doing something, right? And maybe if I watered it a little bit more often, maybe that new growth would have showed up sooner. I'm not sure. But the fact of the matter is that it showed up not only when it needed to, but it let me know that even in my very minimal efforts, that my minimal efforts was actually doing something. Okay. So I got some channel messages for you guys, and then we will pull cards afterwards to edify this message a bit more. Okay. And see where this may be lining up for you, how it may be applying to your life and your experience right now. So when I'm recording this, we did just have, mind you, this is a timeless message. Okay. So whenever you do come across this message in this reading is when it is meant for you. However, this is on the tail end of the new moon solar eclipse that we just had now 3 days ago. Okay. No, 2 days ago. My apologies. 2 days ago. My solar return was 3 days ago, but 2 days ago. So that's, we're going to get into the channel messages that I got regarding the new growth, okay, in unexpected places, and then we'll pull cards to see a bit more how that may be playing out for you at this time, okay, whenever you see this message. And keep in mind, okay, that it may appear like she's posting this shit late, the new moon has already happened. Eclipses, that energy typically can last up to at least 6 months. Just saying. So if it you'll know for yourself based on how aligned you are with what it is you're requesting or where it is that you need to be, you'll know what applies to you when. And then if anything, it's giving you time to really get in alignment with the things. If it's like, I don't see that movement yet, or, that I feel so far from that, that doesn't mean that you're still not where exactly you need to be. Okay. It's just something to keep in mind, things to consider. All right. Also, so my mom, sweet self, got me along with this really cute necklace she got me. that has my name on the back of it, like it's etched with my name on the back and my birthday. And the type of moon, the waxing moon, crescent moon that, you know, I guess that phase when my birthday, you know, falls or whatever, and it glows in the dark. It was so cute. I was like, oh. So anyway, but we are gonna pull an affirmation card or two, whatever comes out for my badasses. Okay, so affirmations cards for a badass. All right, so we're gonna do that at the end. So yeah. Now, glitching the matrix. Okay, some of you may be seeing or feeling that your matrix is glitching at this time. Okay, your own personal simulation. And that could indicate a few things. Okay, that could indicate definitely new energies that are aligning to you. That could also be indicative of activations that are taking place for you at this time, like new timelines that you're shifting into, maybe a new version for some of you that can hold this new timeline. Okay, oh my gosh, let's not start this now. It's too early on to start with the nose itching. Let's not. Let's not, please. So anyway, glitching the matrix. Now, how I noticed that happening for me this rising before I started recording this message was I came to my MacBook, right, that's sitting right here, and it was literally glitching, and it just made me laugh. It just made me laugh because then I started getting all these messages and crown loads about why that was happening. So some of you may be experiencing something similar, and I feel like this is important to mention because some of you may be thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna need a new computer, or you know, like thinking something is wrong, and that's not necessarily the case. Okay, sometimes that is just simply the universe's way of letting you know that things are glitching right now because it's showing you the change that is being currently created, or the change that you are currently experiencing in real time. Okay, but it also can be definitely indicative of the energy that you're exuding, how magnetizing it is, how powerful and strong it is for your devices, right, to be responding to that real time. Okay, so then let's see. Old seeds are now sprouting. Okay, so some of you may be noticing that, like I said, things that you maybe didn't know actually worked. Maybe a seed you planted, right, metaphorically, right, a seed that you planted. It could also be physically, right, for those of you that have green thumbs. Okay, but this feels more an energy of a metaphorical sense. Okay, old seeds now sprouting, meaning manifestations that you that you put out into the universe, but you kind of just forgot about, which is the point, right? Which is what you're supposed to do. I definitely forgot about that. It's not that I forgot about it, but I wasn't focused on it, wondering like, when is something going to happen? Is this going to get bigger? Is it going to grow? Is it going to, like, you know, I wasn't focused in that way, but I just watered it. I just kept watering it whenever I felt called to, guided to, when I felt like it looked a little dry, you know, I'd water it. And then next thing you know, it sprouted its own new growth outside of, you know, the original piece that was there. So some of you may be noticing at this time, or coming into this you know, new moon eclipse energy, that old seeds that you had once planted are now starting to sprout, meaning even if the small efforts you've been putting in towards these manifestations or towards these new experiences that you want to have, your minimal effort is actually doing something. So just that could also be an indication to let you know that maybe if you put a little bit more effort, that maybe you'll get even more quicker and sustainable results from that. But if you feel, you know, that's up to your own discernment, okay, to decide what to do with that. So soil or environment more fertile than you thought. Okay, so for me, I felt like this was like definitely indicative of as dry as that soil looked, I didn't realize that it's still, and it's interesting too, because a while, I want to say maybe about a good 2 months or so ago, I put 3 pieces, if you notice the picture, I put 3 pieces of cinnamon stick in that pot, right? And not expecting that to do anything, but maybe that helped as well. Okay. So, but the point is doing the little small things, or making the small adjustments that you're being guided to make, is supporting the growth. Okay. So just by me putting, you know, the 3 cinnamon sticks, I allowed myself to assume that the essence of that, right? We all know that what cinnamon does when it comes to magic and, your intentions and manifestations and growth and also speeding up the process, right? That could have definitely helped because I've been watering it. Therefore, the water also would wet up the cinnamon sticks, right? To then allow the cinnamon, the essence of the cinnamon to, drip down into that soil. So, like I said, some of you may be seeing that, or now you're realizing that the soil or the environment that you've been planting your seeds of manifestation in was maybe a bit more fertile than you realized. Okay, that definitely surprised the hell out of me. Like, beautiful surprise, pleasant surprise. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, it is so little, right? It's little and it's small and it's cute and it's so adorable. It's adorable, and I was just like, oh, So anyway, so fertile, the environment or soil is more fertile than you thought, just takes way longer. Okay. So some of you maybe also, and this could also not just have to do with your, the soil that you're planting your seeds of manifestation in, but the environment maybe that you actually live in. Okay. Some of you may be feeling like the environment that currently holds you or houses you isn't fertile. Maybe you feel like there's no growth here, right? You can't thrive the way you need to. But some of you, it's not that you can't, it's just it just takes a lot longer than you want, a lot longer than maybe it needs to. But until your environment changes, right? Or until the environment that you're planting your seeds of manifestation in changes, things can take a bit longer than they probably would otherwise. Okay. Slowed growth, delayed progress. All right. So that could be, like I said, what some of you may be experiencing at this time, but allow yourself, instead of getting, upset about that, or, feel how you want to feel about it. Don't get me wrong. But what I mean by that is, if getting upset about something makes you spiral, okay, this is about knowing yourself, right? For me personally, I know that if I allow certain things to rile up my emotions, it'll take me down a whole nother fucking rabbit hole that I don't need to go down, right? And so that's because I know myself. So certain things I just have to acknowledge that I feel a kind of way about it, but not wallow in that, not allow myself to absorb all those emotions that are being triggered by that event. Those emotions are coming up for a reason. They're coming up to show me something, right? But it's not for me to take them all in as mine and feel like I need to hold them. Okay. That's where us, as humans, can typically sabotage our own self, sabotage our progress. If the emotions that come up, whether it's rage, whether it's anger, whether it's fear, whether it's self-doubt, whatever it might be, if those come up, allow yourself to acknowledge them, but channel those emotions into action. Okay. Where we mess up is you feel the emotions and then you sit in them and then you let them take you over instead of putting you into action to do something about it. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference that I've observed through my own journey, is allowing, when those emotions do come up, acknowledge them. I see them, I feel them, I hear them, I know that they're there, and I say these things to them. I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I know you're there, and it's okay. And then I move on. I don't allow myself to wallow in that energy too long, because that's when it becomes a detriment to me. So the fact that they're coming up, it's teaching me something, it's showing me something, it's bringing an awareness to something, right? But where we mess up is when we sit in it and then we start thinking about it and then we overanalyze and we want to pick it apart and break it down and all that. You know what I'm saying? And then becomes, you're just doing too much. Next thing you know, you're drained, and now you're pissed off because you let it take you down like that, right? And it just creates this whole spiraling effect of negative energy. And that's, so that's what I mean when I say, if feeling the emotions of something puts you into action to do something about it, let that be, the reason to, feel them if you need to feel them, right? Otherwise, acknowledge their presence and then let them go. Send them on their way. I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I acknowledge you, I acknowledge your presence. Thank you for being here. And now you're free to go, right? That's a simple, easy way. Your words hold so much power. So if you feel like you need something that's easy, that's quick, that works, that is a beautiful way to start. Okay. So forced focus shift. Forced focus shift. The spirit was giving me about that is that some of you, in order to allow your manifestations to grow, are being forced to shift your focus. Okay. Meaning when you try to, for example, watch a pot of boiling water, it's not going to make it boil faster. All it's doing is taking longer because you're so focused on it. You know what I'm saying? So, and sometimes depending on what we're talking about here, that can also create resistance energetically, making it takes even longer because you're so focused on it. You see what I'm saying? So some of you at this time, especially during this new moon solar eclipse energy, are maybe being forced to shift your focus away from something. There may be other things like seeds you have planted, and then other things that are coming up that maybe feel like distractions or feels like it's taking your focus away. Understand that, maybe check in with yourself to see that maybe that's happening for a reason. Okay, maybe the universe is purposely and intentionally shifting my focus to give those seeds a chance to actually germinate, to give them a chance to actually create roots, right? And ground themselves to actually sprout into something that is not only what you want, but something that is sustainable. Okay. So if your focus, it feels like it's being forced to be shifted into something else, allow yourself to play with the idea of this is divine. Everything is divinely orchestrated. Nothing happens by coincidence. So if other things are coming up, while I think I'm supposed to be focused on my manifestation, that is feels like the universe's way of trying to intentionally and purposely turn you away from something that you don't need to focus on right now. It's like the same as if you put in an order on Amazon and you then are like focused on when are they shipping it? Did they ship it yet? Who's going to deliver it? When is it coming? What time frame? What's the window? It's like you're starting to focus on too many details that you don't really need to be concerned about. So Spirit is having you put in your order, right? And then letting it go, letting Amazon take care of the rest or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Letting the universe essentially take care of the rest and shifting your focus away from all the details about has it shipped yet? When is it going to get here? What's the estimated time frame? Who's going to be my driver? All these things that you don't need to be concerned about. You don't need to worry about the how. That's all when we talk about manifestation and paying too much attention to the how, that is what we mean. The how of all those extra little details that you don't really need to worry about. All you need to do is decide, this is what I want. I made my request and I'm just going to be ready to receive it when it gets here. That's all we need to do, right? Let the universe be the middleman and connecting all those other dots and details, thank you, Spirit, that you don't need to be concerned about, okay? So this is essentially a situation like bamboo shoots, okay? What do I mean by that? Bamboo shoots. It takes years, but once they sprout, they take off. So this is similar to, for those that, like I said, may or may not know, when you plant bamboo plants, right? They take a long, like 5-7 years, like a really, really long time to see any type of growth out the dirt. But once they come out the dirt, they're just like gone with the wind, right? They take off really quickly, right? They grow very fast. Obviously, maybe not, while you're physically watching them, not like that, but in a sense of is all the time it took to even get to that point. After that, it's not the same at all. It's very, very quick. So for some of you, that is what it feels like. This is what some of you are experiencing at this time. So that just goes to show you that your work, even though you may not have been feeling like you've been putting in much effort at all, that your work is in fact still working behind the scenes, okay? So we already touched that. Eclipse energy lasts about 6 months. So that's something to, consider, that your seeds that you planted, if you haven't been seeing any growth or movement, keep putting in, effort. It doesn't mean that you have to overdo it. It doesn't mean you have to overexert yourself, right? But continue to put in aligned action, and being consistent with that, and you will see growth, okay? So give it at least 6 months. If you don't see anything, then reevaluate. Decide, you know what, maybe I need to put in my order, right? So to speak. So let's see, change how, when it's least expected. So some of you, like I said, are now experiencing change in ways and when you least expect it, okay? And it feels like it's happening because you're not ready for it. For me, that's one thing that I've learned that kind of supports me in not being so hung up on when something is happening or why it hasn't happened yet, is because it's supporting me in being prepared for it. Meaning when I receive it, I'll be able to actually sustain it. I'll be actually able to hold it. Because I would hate to, like, let's say, win the lottery, right? And because I wasn't the version of me that can actually sustain such an experience, that I would lose it like a lot of people do, right? 1-2 years afterwards, after they get it, if not less, right? Just because they were still operating, they received that manifestation, but from an old version, from an old programming system. Okay, so it's like literally trying to operate new software on old hardware. Okay, so I'd rather, you know, not even have the experience. Like, I'd rather not even win it if I know I'm going to lose it literally like 2-3 years down the line. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know how to, I wasn't really prepared. I wasn't really ready as I could have been to receive that experience. Okay. So some of you, this is your reminder letting you know that things are changing for you in ways that you least expected, maybe at a time that you least expected, but it's because you're ready for it. So if you don't feel like you're ready for what you're asking for, this is your indication to let you know that even though it may feel like things are taking a long time, this is giving you time to prepare. Okay. What it was, the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Okay. So if you're properly prepared, it'll prevent you from not only missing your blessing, but fucking it up. Okay. So just saying. And this is also reminding you that divine timing is always at play. Okay. So some of you need the reminder that you are more than enough. Okay. I feel like some of you are maybe making it personal, that when your manifestations are feeling like they're taking a long time, you're making that personal. You're making it as it's a problem, or it's because you're not worthy, you're not deserving. That's not true. Okay. Like I said, it's just giving you time to actually be ready for what you're asking for. So that way you can actually enjoy it a bit longer than you would have otherwise, because nothing in this life lasts forever, right? Everything is borrowed. Everything is just an experience. So this is essentially happening in the way it is to just allow you to be able to enjoy it a bit longer than you probably would have if you weren't really as prepared as you're about to be coming into this new season. Okay. So Spirit wants you to stop doubting your value and your worthiness. Some of you, that is also something in itself that is creating resistance or slowing down the process, the momentum of which your manifestations can come to you. Your self-doubt, or thinking, I must not be worthy, or this shit doesn't work. This manifestation is some bullshit. We're always manifesting. You're manifesting moment to moment to moment to moment. Okay. It's just a matter of how you decide to look at it, but also understanding that everything that you desire in this life already exists. Okay. It's just a thought that's returning to you. It's a thought that's dropping in and letting you know, okay, this, you know, do you want this? This is giving you time to decide, do you want this now? Or, you know, it'll take about 6 months to grow this plant. Do you want this plant? So 6 months from now, you can have the fruit, right? Same thing as like when you're in your manifestations. Some of you, that's why you're getting the thought when you're getting it, is because it's not only a fertile time for you to plant that seed, right, of intention, but it's also the perfect time to where, you know, it'll give me 6 months to get ready for this. Like same as like a baby, right? You get pregnant and then it has 9 months to bake, so to speak, right? And in that 9-month period, that gives you time to prepare for the baby, to get a name picked out, to decide, you know, what type, where am I gonna put this, and that nesting phase, right, that the women go through. It gives you time, plenty of time to prepare, not only financially, but physically and in your environmentally, right? It gives you time to prepare for all that stuff. So that way, when the baby comes, the baby can thrive. It can be in a healthy environment, you know, but that doesn't happen in that way when people, you know, plant these seeds, right? AKA a baby, and they're not really ready for it, whether it's financially, whether it's with the partner they chose, whether they're, you know, with their environment, wherever they live, things like that. If you're not really prepared, then that process, when it comes to be, is difficult because you weren't properly prepared. So if you're not properly prepared, then your performance is probably poor, and that pulls on your energy, that pulls on, you know, your worthiness, and feeling like, oh, I must not be a good mom, right? And we then start playing that tape, that narrative starts playing, right? So I'm just saying that to say, things that feels like it's taken a long time, is just giving you time to prepare for it. So that way, when it does come about, you're not only able to enjoy it, but you're able to sustain it. You're able to actually care for it properly. Okay. So showing the universe that not only am I ready for this, I can sustain this, and I'm grateful. You show your gratitude by the way you care for things that you receive. Okay. So Spirit is saying, give yourself time to adjust. Okay. Some of you have, with this, especially with this new moon solar eclipse energy, have stepped into a new timeline. Okay. Some of you have stepped into a new version of yourself. And now this is, and it may feel like, oh, that was so great, you know, like life change, you know, like for example, my solar return really quick, because this, I feel like this is really relevant. I had stopped celebrating. I had stopped, you know, a couple years ago, decided I'm not going to celebrate my birthday anymore, like at all, because I was in my mind, I was thinking about the way society has taught us to celebrate it. It's a ritual, one. Two, it's a ritual that plays on aging, okay? The aging process. That doesn't even have to be a thing. It's not to say that your body over time doesn't change and you can see like, okay, they're getting older, but that process, when you count year to year to year, it happens way faster, right? Because you have other people that are playing on, oh, damn, you don't look that old, or oh, you look way younger, you look this and this and this. And that's them putting their projections onto you, right? And when I had friends doing that, I had people doing that, you know, and it's just like, no, we're not doing this. I'm not letting other people's feelings of being old make me feel old. Okay. I don't feel like that now. And I'm not going to allow myself to play into that because of everybody else. When my body naturally decides that it's time to slow down and, you know, I'm ready to accept this aging process or however that looks, I will come to that when I come to it, not forced into that or pushed into that way sooner because of others' influence around me, right? And so instead, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to redefine how I celebrate this day. And instead, because of all the growth that I've been, you know, not only deliberately and diligently putting effort into, but allowing myself to actually have and see, and all the healing, all the work, and all those things I've been doing behind the scenes by my motherfucking self, okay? I decided that I'm going to instead celebrate my birthday, my solar return, as a day of remembrance, remembering who the fuck I am, right? The Ra, when I say Ra, remember your solar Ra turn, the Ra, sun god Ra, is about illumination, okay? It's about an expansion of my confidence, right? Remembering who I am before I was told, you know, who I wasn't, right? Before I was told that I wasn't good enough, before I was told that this, you know, that before I was told all the things that were intentionally made to keep me down, to hold me back, to make me feel unworthy, right? And so I decided that instead, this day is going to be used to celebrate the remembrance of who I am. And it's going to instead of taking years from me, it's giving me years back because of the work I've been doing, because of the allowing myself to remember who I am at the core. It's adding years to my life. So for me, now, that is what that is indicating, that I'm giving years back to myself because I've been putting in the fucking work for myself, by myself. Okay. So give yourself time to adjust to the change. So why was that relevant? Because that day I had the most fun I've had in a really, really long time. I got treated like a fucking princess. I got treated like a fucking queen. I I just got to, you know, live carefree. I was out my friend's sunroof, you know, dancing on, you know, while we're driving around downtown trying to find parking, and, you know, a lot of people, you know, were cheering me on and shit like that. And that wasn't why I was doing it. It wasn't for the attention at all. It was just me, my way of allowing my own inner child to be free for a night. You know, that was like, I just want to let loose for a night. I don't go out. I don't have friends like that. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to bars. I'm one of those women that they talk about, that the good women are hiding in the house. That's me. I'm one of those. I hide in the house. I stay in my lane. I stay out the way. You know, so that night really allowed me to just feel like let loose with the wind. And I did that. And it was so fucking fun. And then after we went to a hookah spot, which I don't, you know, smoke or anything like that for real anymore either. But, you know, I allowed myself to enjoy the night. And so going into this hookah lounge, we happen to be matching with our clothes, right? And looked so good, you know, and everybody's like, you look like a celebrity and blah, 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 and all this. And it was like, that was not the goal. That was not what I came here for at all. Like, if people who really fucking know me, I'm not the one for seeking out attention. I'm not the one for trying to, purposely and intentionally do things to get people to come. Like, that's just the magnetism. What it showed me was not only my growth, but the true magnetism of my energy, the true magnetism that I exude as a goddess, as this version that I've been asking to embody, that I've been really doing my best to work on embodying, this new identity. You know what I'm saying? That was what that showed me, was that, oh shit, your energy, your light is really showing in a really bright way, right? And I needed that. I needed to see that in my own self-doubt from previous versions of myself that was taught to doubt myself, that was taught you're not good enough, that was conditioned to think that you're not worthy, you're not deserving, you think you're the shit because of this, just because people are jealous. Like, it all that shit went out the fucking window, and it showed me like, no, you have this experience because this is what you deserve to have. This is the experience you deserve to live, if that's what you want. I literally felt like a fucking celebrity in my own city. And it was beautiful. I didn't expect it. That wasn't the intention. That was not the intention I set at all. It wasn't the goal. I just allowed myself to be present, and I allowed myself to just decide that I'm a fucking goddess, and I decided to be treated like one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying in the sense of arrogance or in the sense of, oh, worship and fuck, none of that shit. None of that. None of that. But more so in the sense of remembering that I'm worthy. I am a god of my reality. I am a god to myself, and I honor myself. When others can't, when others won't, when others aren't required or whatever, I do that for myself. Everything else is a bonus. I've been working on this shit for a long time now, 9 fucking years strong to be exact. For me, that's a lot. That's a long time of dedicating myself, letting myself fall off and get back on, and falling off and getting back on so many fucking times, and I still haven't quit on myself. That is huge for me personally. That is fucking huge. I have given up on a lot of things. I've quit a lot of things because I just didn't feel like it was worth it. It was too hard. It just didn't seem like the payoff was going to be worth it, whatever. This is something that I have not given up on, and I won't give up on it. That's why as many times I fall off, I allow myself to get back on and pick up wherever I can, however I can, wherever I left off, and keep going. So give yourself time to adjust, okay? Some of you have been working really fucking hard on yourself. You've been doing a lot of work on yourself, okay? Give yourself time, space, and grace to really see how far you've come, okay? I feel like I'm going to split this video into two parts, just because of to save space and all the to save space and processing times, right? The upload time takes a long time when the videos are longer, so I'll see how I feel about that. But you know what, I may not. I think I just figured out a way in my brain. It just downloaded how I'm gonna do this. So, but yeah. So last message is recalibrate to the new timeline. Okay. Some of you are really being asked at this time to allow yourself not only the time to adjust, but allow yourself to actually do practices or do things that help you recalibrate. Okay. Whether it's some type of meditation or some type of chakra work, right? I'm a certified Reiki master. Okay. Shameless plug, right? So things like that. Chakra tuning, clearing. Okay. Like I have tuning forks. I do that work as well. So allowing yourself to actually recalibrate your energy, reset like you would a computer, right? After you install update, it has to then reset itself, right? To acclimate to the new changes. So this is about treating yourself in that same sense, but understanding that because we are on the 3D plane, okay, of existence, that this recalibration process isn't always instantaneous. Okay, some aspects may be, but some aspects can take just a bit longer, and that's okay. Give yourself time, space, and grace, okay, during this recalibration process, however that looks for you. Okay, give yourself time and space to actually recalibrate to the new frequencies that you have embodied, the new frequencies that you have essentially that has been activated within you. Okay, some of you, this is activation of new gifts. Some of you, this is activation of a new timeline or just a new version of yourself, right? However that's showing up, a new, activation of a new mindset, of a new paradigm, okay, of activation of a new narrative, right? A new story that you're telling yourself, however that looks. This is about giving yourself that time, space, grace, and the patience to really embody these new traits, okay? Embody this new identity that has all the experiences that you desire to have, but that is also in alignment with your ultimate purpose and your mission in this lifetime, okay? So I'm going to pause here and then prepare to pull cards for you all in regards to getting a bit deeper and edify what this is for us, okay? Okay, so part 2 of today's channel message regarding new growth in unexpected places, and for some of you in unexpected ways, okay? So I'm going to dive a bit deeper, get some cards to figure out, or get some, I should say, further insight into what this might mean for you, how this may be showing up for you in particular. So at this time, I'd ask you to please use your discernment, maybe set your intention, okay, for what you would like to receive from this reading, okay? For the messages that are meant for you to come through, make themselves known, may they be revealed clearly to you, okay? And gently leave what is not for you, right? Leave for someone else, for those that it's meant for. So, Spirit, for the collective as pertains to the channel message. Collective. How might this be showing up for the collective? Look at that. Stellar gateway activation, infinite potential, manifestation vortex. Okay. With Merkaba activation at the bottom, transcendence, ascension, you are rising up. So this feels like an energy, you guys, that is essentially coming through at this time. Like I said, some of you are experiencing activations. It's essentially reminding you who you are in this lifetime, okay? Some of you have been asking for that. Some of you, it's just simply time because you have work to do. There's things to be done that only can come through you. There's maybe certain things that need to be created at this time that can only come through you, okay? But with this infinite potential, this is a period of you really stepping into what's possible, the infinite possibilities that await, that maybe you didn't think were, possible before. Maybe it was things that you didn't think you were capable of. That's something I've been, just yesterday, it channeled a totally different type of message, but in regards to that, while I was in the shower, about really allowing myself to write down all the things that I, that haven't been working, even, and not in a sense of sentences, because I realized that that's really overwhelming for me, but more in a sense of just keywords, right? Let's say like inconsistency, procrastination, fear, self-doubt, things like that, right? All those traits and energies that I don't want to continue to embody, right? And then allow myself to then, on the other end of that spectrum, right, list all the traits that I do, that I would prefer to embody instead, right? And then allow myself to really think about the things that I want to experience in this life, because I realized that I was that I had so much self-doubt ramped up from literally since I was in preschool age. I've worked through a lot of it, but obviously the residuals, that I can identify, I can observe that have come up. I was really just in so much self-doubt that it wouldn't happen anyways. So I would block out the possibility of allowing myself to even think about it, to even just play with the idea of what if. And that was like, it hurt my own feelings, okay? Like it hurt my own feelings to just be like, damn, like that's how deep. But that just shows, if you've been attacked from that age so early on, just lets you know your power. People can see it before you could. They knew you were gifted before you did. And so it's like, yeah, let's shut this shit down early, so she won't even Like, imagine, you fucking just imagine where I don't even like trying to imagine where I would be, because that in itself just pisses me off. It just makes me mad instantly. So it's like, I just don't even want to go there, because I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to feel, that I don't want my ego to, get so engulfed in it to where it's just, it shifts into victimizing and all that, and blaming and shaming. I don't want to get back. I don't want to open that door, essentially. So let's get some more insight to what this is for you guys. The stellar gateway activation. Okay, so message here: you are a master of manifestation. Every one of your thoughts, actions, non-actions, and choices is affecting the unfolding of your path. Realize that you have great potential and power within you. And through your focused awareness, you can draw on heavenly support to create the life of your wildest dreams. Know that all the energies you connect with are carried up to your stellar gateway. And if they are aligned with the intentions your soul had before this incarnation, opportunities will come your way. It is important to consider connecting with your cosmic origins at this time, and also tracking down the intentions of your soul. For if you can bring your wishes in this life together with your pre-life intentions, you can live a life that is aligned with the highest heavens. And that makes sense, because it's like, we have our own, as human spirits, being in a human form, right? Having a human experience, we have certain things that we like to experience as well, right? And I feel like that's where the balance is necessary, right? Everything in moderation. Where it's like the same as kind of like how those who are familiar with Bashar talks about, if your needs coincide with your desires, then you know what I'm saying, they're more likely to come, right? So don't focus too much on what you want, but instead focus on what you need. And so for me, how I like to use that is allowing myself to do, find the balance in both, and doing my best to align the things that I want with my needs. Meaning, I want these things because I need them. I actually need them, right? But instead of saying I want, money, no, I want stability. Stability is necessary, right? Instead of saying like I want a big ass house, I want safety, I want security, right? Those things are more of a need than a want type of thing. So, but yeah, it's like I'm also getting your soul star chakra. Okay, the chakra that's located about how many centimeters above your head, above your crown? I can't recall at this time, but if you know, you know. Okay, or look into it, right? Your soul star chakra. Your earth star chakra is the one that's a few centimeters below your feet, and then your soul star is above your crown. So let's see, Spirit, what else for the collective as it pertains to the channel message? What do they need to know? How is this applying? How does this apply? Financial constraints. So for those of you who have been struggling financially, this is indication that a lot of you are now starting to see growth, or this is the energy that's available to you. Okay, some of you may not be seeing it yet, and that's just because it simply just hasn't got to you, right? Same as like when you're driving to a destination, you're on the way, right? You just haven't actually arrived. So for some of you, that is what this new growth in unexpected ways could be, essentially giving to you, or how I should say it's coming to you, is it's on its way. It just hasn't yet actually fully arrived, right? Same as, when you're having a baby or something, right? It's in baking mode, it's there, it's growing, and it just hasn't actually come out yet, right? Same as your cake that you're baking in the oven, right? The cake is in formation, it's in baking mode, right? But it's not complete. Thank you, Spirit. So the point is, though, is where you feel constrained, okay, there is an opportunity here for growth. Allow these potential or perceived constraints, allow you to see what can you pull from this? What is it trying to show you? What is the opportunity that it's really presenting here? Okay, is it teaching you maybe how to budget? Is it teaching you maybe to, if you find yourself just randomly spending, there's a deeper underlying theme underneath that energy, okay, that makes you feel like I need to do this, or especially if you're feeling anxious, or if you're sad, if you're upset, if that's something that you automatically go to as a coping mechanism, that's something to look at. Okay, so those of you that have, like I said, been struggling financially, this feels like a very fertile period of financial growth, okay, to bring you out of that energy. Some of you, that the new growth in unexpected ways, it may feel small, meaning, like, say, for example, like myself, you may be an entrepreneur, right, and or business owner, and you finally get one sale, right? It may seem small because it's just one, and maybe that one sale is only, you know, $30 or however much, right? But that small growth still matters. That easily can build momentum into more. Okay. So allow yourself to just at least embrace the perceived smallness of what it is that, you know, is happening. Okay. So we do have storm warning here at the bottom though. All right. So that's something to just be mindful of. Okay. That could be coming to you as a warning, as in don't overspend. Okay. There may be some type of, event or like a rare occurrence that's you know, kind of warning you, like, hey, you're going to need to spend money on this, right? So hold on to the money that you're getting, right? There may be something that's coming up, but it's coming up in place of, like, you know, while your manifestations are still on the way. So don't allow, I feel like this is important because it feels like spirit is trying to let us know that, you know, financial constraints come up or things happen that are unforeseen, right? If your car breaks down or you get a flat tire, things like that, that you can't always foresee coming, you can't always see them in advance, but it is to say that you will have enough to take care of it. Okay, you already do have enough to take care of it. Save your money because there's something that you're going to need to take care of, right? But in that, don't let those small events, those small, what we call hiccups in life, right? The little speed bumps that we have to, like, kind of overcome, right? That kind of jolt us a little bit. Don't let that deter you from seeing the manifestations that's on its way. Okay, sometimes, you know how they say that things get harder before it gets better, it gets worse before it gets better. That's kind of what this energy feels like. Okay, so this is also spirit's way though of trying to ensure that you are mindful with your money. Okay, be mindful to not just overspend because you have it, right? Because things do come up. Things, you know how they say, shit happens. It literally does. And so you want to be prepared for that. So that way your energy isn't being like, damn, I just had all that money and I blew it and now I need it for this thing and I don't have nothing. You see what I'm saying? So just be mindful, be cognizant of your spending habits at this time. Okay. And I feel like for over at least the next 6 months. Okay. So just something to keep in mind, something to consider. All right, let's see. Spirit, what else? The highest and greatest good of the collective and nothing less. Yeah, I just feel like some of you have been maybe in this energy of feeling financially constrained for far too long, to where it's just like you feel like you're down to the bare bones of nothing, right? And this is where spirit is saying, hang on just a little bit longer. Okay, some of you are maybe feeling like your creations, whatever it is you're creating, is not coming to fruition. And oh, my whole deck was upside down. I didn't know. But that's not true either. Okay, we have card 39, creation. All right, and at the bottom we have card change. Okay, followed by acceptance, followed by growth and gratitude and fruition, darkness. Okay, all these, why that's important, because some of you, like I said, are maybe feeling in the dark right now. The spirit is saying things are changing. Change may not always come in the way that you want, but it is a part of your creation process. It is a part of the process that has to happen to bring you what it is you desire. It's not always going to come and show up in the ways, it's not always going to be smooth sailing where, you know, like a roller coaster, right? It goes up and down, around, and the ride is exhilarating. It can be scary, but it can be fun, and it makes your tummy feel weird and all these different emotions and experiences. And you're like, oh my God, am I going to fly off this thing? Oh my God, like, you know, when is it going to stop? Like all that, all the range of emotions that come with riding a roller coaster. That's what this kind of time feels like for you. Is it feels like, energetically speaking, though, as well. Okay, change is inevitable. Change is the only constant. So this is spirit's way of allowing you, or asking you, I should say, to allow yourself to do your best to get comfortable with change. Okay, it's the only thing that is going to happen no matter what. Things change just at different rates, different speeds. So just because It may not, maybe some of you, like I said, are feeling in the dark right now. You feel like you're down to the bare bone minimum of having nothing. Okay. Spirit is saying that accept that. If that's how you feel right now, accept that, right? Accepting does not mean complacency though. That's where even myself at one point in life, I used to get it kind of twisted. Even when I would be telling people that I was dealing with at that time that, you know, it's, you have to allow yourself to accept that this is what the fuck it is right now. Just because you say that, you know, I'm in this situation and I'm not happy, and I accept that I'm not happy. Accepting does not mean that you're not trying to get out of it. It doesn't mean that you're now comfortable with that and you don't want change. That is not what that means. But accepting, a level of acceptance is required, as in acknowledging. Okay, that's what we mean when we say acceptance, right? It's not saying that you're comfortable with it and that you're okay with it now, and that I don't want, like, I'm cool with where I'm at. That's complacency. That's not what acceptance means. Acceptance means that I acknowledge that this is what I'm being shown right now. This is what I'm observing right now, whatever that is, right? And that's what it is at this moment. Now, does that mean that it has to stay like this? Absolutely not. And that is what's accepting as well, is that this is what it is, but I simultaneously accept that this is the current and this is also changing. See what I'm saying? Both, because this universe is so vast, both can be true at the same time. Okay. I accept that this is my situation. I feel financially constrained, but I also simultaneously accept that things that I'm creating, that I am a creator. I am powerful. The things that I am creating, the things that I'm manifesting and asking for is coming as well. You see what I'm saying? So there is a level of acceptance here required for you to continue to grow, right? And maybe how you can do that is by starting to say, like, you know what? I don't feel like I accept that I don't feel like I have everything I need right now. I accept that it feels like things are not growing, but I give thanks and gratitude that change is the only constant. That means that if that's what's constantly happening, no matter what, that means that I'm not going to be here forever. This may feel like this right now. I'm not going to be here forever. This isn't going to last. Thank you, just in advance. Thank you for shifting me out of this energy. Thank you for allowing me to see the work that I'm doing is actually working. Thank you for allowing me to see that my growth is actually happening, even if I feel in the dark, even if I don't know how, even if I don't know when it's happening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for showing me that it's happening. Thank you for even the smallest of ways showing me that it's happening, even through this reading. Thank you for showing me that change is coming for me in the best ways. That is how powerful your words are. As you continue to do that and allow yourself to vibrate in that energy of acceptance that I am growing, things are changing. I do have reasons to be grateful. I'm grateful that at least I get to watch this video right now. I'm grateful that I at least get to record it for you right now. I'm grateful that I at least get to tap into this frequency, into this energy, to be able to give this message to you right now. You see what I'm saying? Having gratitude in those ways positions you to be able to receive the change you've been asking for. It's showing you showing the universe that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the challenges, because on the other side of challenges is something to value. It's something to have thanks for. It's something to appreciate of, right? So there's always a polar end, the opposite end of the spectrum. There's always two ways to look at, at least two ways to look at things. Okay. Really, there's three: the positive, the negative, and the truth. See what I'm saying? There's, like, when people, you know, there's two sides to every story. You know, there's really at least three, right? Your side, my side, and what's actually true. See what I'm saying? So this is an opportunity for you to really allow yourself to see what is true about this situation. What am I maybe missing here? Ask. The same way you ask with, you know, with your orders on Amazon, or when you ask for what you want when you're ordering food, right? It's the same thing. Ask, request. Please show me in tangible forms, even in the smallest ways, Spirit, how that, you know, how you're helping me. How are you showing up for me? How do you have my back? Please show me in even the smallest, simplest ways how you have my back. Okay, I've done that recently, and I allowed myself to observe the little small ways, continual ways. And it's like interesting, because days when I ask that, when I make that request, when I set that intention before my day even starts, I see so many repeating numbers: 111, 888, 777, 999, 333. And most of these are either on a clock or a license plate that I can take a picture of for my own reference, right? Sometimes it'll be like last night. Yesterday was the 22nd, right? And my time on my clock is military time, just because when I worked at the hospital, that was what I was used to, so I stuck with it. No other affiliation though. But 22:22 on the clock last night, which is really 10:22 p.m., right? On the 22nd. So all those twos, you see what I'm saying, about balance, restoration, partnership, collaboration, things like that. So, you know, it's just simple ways that the universe will show you that I do have your back. But are you watching? Are you acknowledging my effort? Are you acknowledging what the signs that I'm showing you, right? Be open to seeing the signs. Ask for the signs. Please support me in seeing the signs that you give me more clearly. Please support me in allowing myself to be more present, to see the signs that you're sending me. Those are simple requests that don't cost you a thing, right? It's just a matter of being intentional and allowing yourself to be open to receive them when they do show up. You know, that's from experience. Like, I do this shit. I live this shit every day. And it's not always easy, right? Because there are days where my ego wants to, you know, drive my car, essentially, right? And, you know, I have to throw its ass in the back seat. Like, no, we're not doing this today because you're going to make me spiral in the way that I don't want to. I'm not playing this game with you today, right? But that's the awareness that you need to have, okay? Come through, spirit. Come through. So again, card 39. Card 39, totally different deck. Card 39, new life, okay? New life with exchanging gifts. New life with exchanging gifts. It's giving me like really an energy of, this has come up in a reading that I've done for you guys before, but I'm not even gonna try to hurt my brain trying to recall which one it was. But the point is, okay, new life and exchanging gifts. This is essentially the universe saying, like, I'm trying to give you new life, but you need to be willing to give me the old one. You can't take the old one with you. Same as like you got a driveway, right, that you can only fit one car in, and you're not allowed to park on the street. You got to be willing to give me that old car for you to accept this new one. See what I'm saying? So I feel like some of you are really being asked to identify what are you willing to give up in turn in exchange for what it is that you're asking for. What are you willing? That's the sacrifice, essentially. What are you willing to sacrifice? Okay. And sacrifice doesn't have to be this negative connotation that the word has been given, right? That we associate it with, even myself at one point, right? But the sacrifice simply means giving up something in exchange for, okay? And so that doesn't have to come, and I get it. And I feel like it was like intentionally done as well, right? Where we look at that as it gives us this sense of lack. It activates or triggers, I should say, this energy of lack, right? And it doesn't have to be that. So allow yourself to redefine what does sacrifice mean? That I care about this more than that, so I'm willing to give this up in place of that. Okay, the same way you're willing to sacrifice money to live in a house, right? To pay rent, that's a sacrifice. That I could be putting this money towards something else, but this is more important. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that lens of perspective, you're not in lack. Spirit is trying to exchange and give you gifts, give you the things that you've been asking for, but it's like, what are you willing to give up in place of that? Okay. Some of you are really being asked to really evaluate what maybe are you contributing your money, time, and energy to that is creating financial constraints in your life that are unnecessary. Okay. Like, all right, do you have, look, I just saw 2222 on the timer. Do you guys like, it's like, do you have are you paying like a bill, like, so say a car note, right? That is really creating financial constraints in your life, but you're just like, I don't want to be without a car. I need a car. Do you really need one, or you just really want one? See what I'm saying? And sometimes we got to be willing to let go of something, right? In order to receive something better. Okay. And sometimes the universe will do that for you, like forcefully. Okay. And that's why it was like forced shift of focus. Thank you, Spirit. It's bringing me back to the earlier channel message about a forced shift of focus. Some of you are being forced to shift your focus. So the same way that I got my car taken from me, that I was so proud to have gotten because I had got it on my own without the help of my parents or anyone else, I couldn't sustain it because I quit my job at the hospital and then started trying to build my brand, and that didn't take off as nearly quickly as I thought it would, or as I wanted it to, because I embodied that new identity. I hadn't yet really built a solid foundation for myself to be able to sustain the same type of income I was making from that job that I wanted to sustain in working for myself. It didn't happen like that. So I had to be willing to sacrifice that car and give it up because it was creating more problems than solutions, right? But in that, I know what I asked for. I asked for a replacement. I asked for a car in its place that came to me as, you know, whether it was a gift or just I didn't have to pay for it. It was paid off. I didn't have to worry about it. It's nice. It takes me everywhere I have to go in style and in ease and privacy. And that's the car that I now drive. I now have a 2025 Honda CRV hybrid that's completely paid off, cash, as a gift. And it doesn't matter how, it's just the fact that I know what I asked for and it got delivered to me. I've had that car now for over a year. And I named it 7 because I bought it on the 7th and my life path is a 7. So I say that to say that sometimes things that leave our life is simply making room for more, even in the fucking moment. Like, I don't talk about it because the level of embarrassment that I felt, I allowed the negative emotion to overshadow the change, overshadow reasons to be grateful, right? So, but because I allowed myself to get to a point of accepting, right? Accepting that I worked hard for this car, it got taken because I couldn't sustain it. But on the flip side of that, in my accepting that it is what it is, it's okay. I'll drive this car for now. That isn't mine, that I really don't like, that isn't nearly, you know, as good as the one I had, right? But in that, I was able to see that in my allowing myself to accept that this is what happened. I don't like it. I hated it. I was sad about it. So many things. But in the acceptance of that, allowed the change that I needed, but not only I needed, I really wanted to get me, put me where I'm at now. So, point is, allow yourself to give up the things that are creating more problems than not. And ask for what it is that you'd like in its place, right? And allow the universe to work on your behalf. I didn't know how this would show up. I really didn't, you know, but I'm grateful that in the way it did, it was obviously what I needed. And no one's struggling in that, right? So, sign or synchronicity that you need at this time and why is Earth. Earth, dirt. Are we just talking about new growth? Is this not like the picture of the thumbnail? Like, that's wild. Also represents earth signs, okay? Technically, I feel like today, I want to say this exact day is the switch, is the cusp to Libra energy, okay? But this is the earth sign energy. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, okay? With cats at the bottom. So some of you may be seeing cats at this time, okay? Cats might be a significance. Cats is in this card as well, all right? So, you know, pay attention to cats that are around you that are maybe coming by you. There's a cat that lives in our neighborhood that stays on our block that always sleeps under my car. I notice I'll come out and it'd be just chilling, and it's a black and white cat. And I realized that the black and white is a duality, the balance of the feminine and masculine. And I love that it feels safe enough to sleep under my car. And it just, you know, politely will get up and walk away when it sees me coming. Like, it doesn't run, it's not scared, you know, but it just, you know, politely exits, you know. So keywords: roads, path unclear. We just talked about that being in the dark, right? Your path might be unclear, but keep moving, don't stop. Steps will be given. Absolutely, the steps will be given. Delay is not denial. Thank you, Spade. This is all tying back into the channel message at the beginning of the reading. If you haven't watched it, please do. Okay. Grounding, nurture, foundation, time to build or rebuild, however that applies. Start over. Plant seeds. Plant-based diet. Start a garden. Okay. Some of you might be guided to start a garden. This is, if the shit in the world ain't shown you already that's, you know, should be a thing of focus, I don't know what else is. like They're actively killing us through the foods. Okay, slowly but surely. Like, and I don't say that as fear mongering at all. That's just acceptance of the fact of the fucking matter, and then deciding what are we gonna do about it. Okay, so yeah, but like I was saying, new growth in unexpected places. That card right there, confirmation for earlier's channel message. Okay, delay is not a denial. Just because things are the progress feels slow, it just means it'll last longer. You'll be able to sustain it longer. Why? Because it's giving you time to be really ready for it. So when it fully blooms, when it comes into its full form, like for me, for example, seeing that, hold on, for me, seeing that was like, okay, now that I see there's new growth, that gives me time to prepare and decide, okay, now that there's actually another, you know, plant growing on the side, that means eventually I'm going to need to switch pots. That means it's not going to stay the same size. It means I'm going to have to eventually move that, transfer it into a bigger pot to sustain it, to hold it, right? That gives me time to plan ahead. You see what I'm saying? How you see how the pieces of the puzzles coming together with this? Now, split the deck. Okay, at the bottom, we had Judgment. On the split, we have the Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles. I can't even make this shit up if I wanted to. Like, I'm just saying. It just feels like some of you, once you make this decision with the Judgment, once you make the final decision, once you awaken to what your power, allow yourself to come online in that way and decide this is what I fucking want. It's like it's immediately given to you. Do you see all the steps skipped from going from 1 to 9 and being straight at 9 and 10? You see what I'm saying? It's like being from 0 to 1,000, like already at the end without even trying. You see what I'm saying? That's what's possible here. But are you going to activate it? Are you willing to let go of the things that are creating resistance in your experience to allow it in, right? That's up to you. It's a personal thing. Come through, Spirit. Ace of Pentacles. Okay? New beginning. Planting a new seed, a new start, a new opportunity that's being handed to you from the divine. And the way that is being gripped, it's like Spirit is, this is your karma. This is your divine justice. This is the scales of karma being balanced out on your behalf. But back to the point, the way that the hands are holding this, it's like, here, this is for you. And it's like this, okay? The yin and yang energy, right? And it's where it's not going to drop. You can't drop it. It's being held and being given just to you, not to anyone else. It's like it's being protected. So for some of you, your seed of manifestation that maybe you planted a while back but don't feel like it's growing, it feels like there's energy of protection around it right now, okay? But it is growing underneath the surface, right? So balancing, restoring balance in your life, okay? By way of the karma that you've cleared, the work that you've been doing, the things that you've allowed yourself to release, the things that you've been allowing yourself to give up in its place, right? That's why it feels like this is happening for you now, because some of you have been actively giving things up, whether it's, you know, in your space, donating, right? Those are easy ways to, you know, release energy, okay, to make room for what it is you're asking for, because everything not only is energy, but everything has energy attached to it, right? So for me, before I donate anything, just as a rule of thumb, I will call my power back from every item that I give before I give it. So that way my energy stays with me, and that item can then go and be used in the best possible way for whoever it's going, okay? So let's see, Spirit, what else? But yeah, this is divine justice being had on your behalf, okay? Karma is coming through in a beautiful way here, right? It's like this is Spirit saying your new life is here. Allow yourself to let go of the things that you feel like are holding you back, holding you down, keeping you constrained, all those things. Allow that shit to go. Allow it to go, because Spirit is trying to give you things, new things in its place, all right? So we have the Artist, right? So this is, again, that energy of having like a blank canvas. Okay, this is now the time to decide what it is that you want to create. If those of you are feeling like my finances aren't where I want them to be, Spirit is saying, okay, sit down, create a new plan, make a plan. How do you want to move forward, right? Start, you know, thinking about what it is that you want, like how much money you want to make every year, right? Or every month, whatever, however you want to do that. Get that number in your mind and then reverse engineer how you would get there. What are things I can offer? What are ways that I can, that I can move towards that? And then after you come up with that, then again, reverse engineer into a plan, right? Into breaking it down. Okay, this is what I'll work on. This is the goal for every month, or this is the goal for every week. This is how I'm going to show up. This is all the energy that I have to give, or the time I have to give to this every week to show up for this, right? And allow yourself to be supported in that, right? But you're the operant power here. You are the artist, meaning you are essentially the god of your own reality. A lot of people feel, even myself for a long time, felt really strange in saying that. But to me, that's some of the most accurate statements I can make. You are the god of your reality. That does not mean that other people should worship you, or other people are, are enslaved to you, or, of service to you, kind of, but not in a sense of against their own free will, not in that sense, but more so in the sense of claiming full accountability over your life, full responsibility over your life. No one is coming down here to save us. Okay. So this is essentially you deciding that I am the operant power of my reality. I am the artist of my life. What am I going to create? Let me sit my ass down and think about this, right? What do I want to change? Where do I feel constrained? Where do I feel restricted? How do I want that to shift? And really allow yourself to think about that, because the new life is here waiting for you. But you have to be willing to identify what seeds you're willing to plant for that to happen. So same as you want to start a garden, for example, right? Okay. Think about maybe the first 5, first you got to map out the space, right? How much space do I have to contribute to a garden, right? So when things start growing, can I sustain this garden? See what I'm saying? Okay. So check that. Then, what do I want to plant? What are some things that I think that I can, take care of, but also that would benefit me? What is the purpose of your garden, right? Do you want it just to be pretty? Is it just something nice to look at, to draw in birds and plants, animals and, things like that? Or is it one that you want to actually be one that you can consume, right? Meaning a vegetable or fruit garden, right? Think about what type of garden you want. Or is it going to be both, right? But you also still have to consider, if I do both, can I sustain that? There's a lot of responsibility that comes with having your own garden, right? Are you willing to learn what it takes, what is required to have a garden, right? These are all things that you need to consider about the seeds that you're planting. So it's not to say that you can't have what it is that you want, but these are the type of questions that need to be considered to, show the universe that I'm serious about this, that I'm sure this is what I want, right? So when you're thinking about the garden you want to have, okay, the seeds that I'm thinking about planting, what does that look like? Let me think about maybe just 5 to start, right? I'm gonna just start with 5 things, 5 vegetables or 5 fruits. What are some that I really know that I want, but are low maintenance, or that I can contain in the space that I have, right? These are the things that we got to start thinking about. And that is by way of the artist. Being the artist, these are things you have to consider, right? What am I going to put this on? As in like the canvas, right? What do I want to create? What do I want that to look like? Who do I want to impact in my creation? So for the actual artists, right? These are still things to think about. What type of piece do I want to make? Is it going to be just something intuitive, or am I going to seek out inspiration, or do I already have an idea in my mind about something I want to create, right? These are the questions that we need to start allowing ourselves to ask. But that is a part of the new life, right? Spirit is trying to give you something new to look forward to. Spirit is trying to bring you into this new identity. Some of you, that is part of your new identity, is becoming the artist, right? And there's an opportunity here that is aligning itself to you, okay, based on a seed that you planted, even if it was, delayed growth. It's here now, okay? So allow yourself to open up to and expand to the possibilities, even if you feel like, well, my finances are restricted right now, so how am I supposed to be an artist if I can't buy paints and different things like that? There are workarounds, but you have to ask for that. right? Please show me creative solutions. Please show me ways I can improvise, right? Even sitting down and coming up with a plan. Whatever you feel like you're guided to do, it's just a matter of receiving that guidance and actually doing it. And you never know what's going to come from that. Okay. Let's see what else. Like for me, I'm going to show you here just a second. So what's the overall message here? I haven't showed this to anybody, but I'm going to show you guys because there's a point. So this was a piece. I feel so, I kind of feel, I wouldn't want to say embarrassed, but kind of like it's just my own, I guess, self-doubt that kind of makes it feel like the fuck, right? But I'm going to show you anyway, okay? So this is something I created. When did I create this? In April 13th, okay? And it's made of basically herbs, okay? So the bottom, the dirt, is coffee grounds, okay, that I glued, that I brushed on glue and put coffee grounds. And the flowers that I put here, okay, and a little bit of the, the hill or whatever, these are all herbs. They're crushed up flowers. These, the middle, the yellow in the middle, that's jasmine, obviously, because it's my name. So, and then the other ones are a mix of like ground up rose, let me see, horsetail, rose, jasmine, butterfly, pea flower. Like I wrote it on the back of what is all in here. Okay. So this is just the easy way of me using, even though I have paints, I do have paints, but I did have herbs that, it just kind of came to me as a different way of creating something. And that's what I chose to do. Like I have these canvases that I bought specifically to help me, allow me to paint and do different, things that I haven't really done since I was a child, which is paint, right? Allow me to really find different creative outlets, as well as tapping more into my feminine energy, things like that. And this is what I came up with. Okay. So this is just an example, okay, of ways that you can, improvise and essentially create things in a different way. Right. So, coming up with something different, improvising using what you have. That's what I had on hand. I have a bunch of herbs for teas that I can make, for oils of intention, teas that I drink for my health and things like that. But I, at the same time, in that moment, I can't recall now if it was just me thinking of that. I think I just kind of gathered, some for that particular thing. But it's kind of like when I have stuff left over from something I was doing and I just have too much left over, then I could resort to using it for something like that. But that was something just new I was guided to try, and I was like, I like it. It's different. So let's see, Spirit. What's the overall message here for the collective as it pertains to Eight of Cups with the Hangman? Some of you are really being guided to shift your perspective and what you're being asked to walk away from, because that's when things change rapidly with the Eight of Wands at the bottom. Eight of Wands, the card at the bottom is change, 35, which reduces to an 8. 8, 8, 8. Okay? 888. That means that's like hella infinite. The 8 is the infinity sign, just upright. You see what I'm saying? 888. That means you're infinite. You're an infinite being. Yes, there may be a sense of regret or a sense of loss and sadness and things like that that comes with whatever it is you're being asked to walk away from, or whatever it is that some of you are feeling like you're being asked to sacrifice or give up. But there's an opportunity here to shift your perspective to that, or your perspective on that. Okay? Surrendering. There's a energy of surrender here that's required. That's where I'm getting also the energy of acceptance. Surrender doesn't mean that you're giving up. Okay? Surrender just means that you're accepting that this is what it is. And you don't have to like it. But sometimes it's required, right? So that's where the shift of perspective comes in, with what it is that you're walking away from, what it is you're being guided. Some of you are being guided to walk away from. Some of you have already done this. Others of you, this is your indication telling you that, yeah, you've been running from the sign. You've been avoiding and putting this off for quite some time. But if you're really ready for the new life that you're asking for, if you're really ready for those seeds you planted to actually grow, there is a level of detachment that you're being asked to have at this time. There's something you're being asked to walk the fuck away from, whether it's a person, a job, an environment, a mindset, an ideology, grief, whatever it is, something you've been holding on to, whatever that might be. It may be all of those things at once, right? It's not to say you have to do it all at once, but I'm just acknowledging that where it applies, that it could be all of those things, right? But allowing yourself to shift your perspective on what it is you're walking away from. Meaning, for example, if you're walking away from a person, you're not walking away because you're hurt because you want to hurt them. You're not walking away from them because you want them to feel, like they can't live without you. But instead, you're walking away because you're choosing yourself, because you realize that this isn't going, that we're both of us together can't grow from here. We can't grow from this space. We've tried long enough and nothing is changing. It's, if anything, getting worse. You see what I'm saying? So allow yourself to feel like, I tried. I put in all these emotions. I invested all these cups, right? I invested so much, right? But it's just not working. And that, like I said, that can apply to a job, right? Where it's like, I've been busting my ass every day that I come, I learn, I share, I help, I show up every day like I'm supposed to, I do my best, and I don't get no acknowledgement, I don't get no recognition, right? If anything, I feel like my money is just being taken from me, type of thing. This is an opportunity, and then maybe the next thing you know, you get fired, right? That's Spirit's way to show you deserve something better, but you need to be willing to shift your perspective about whatever it is that you are being forced to walk away from. For some of you, others are you're being kind of like nudged to choose to walk away from it, meaning quitting before you get fired, or leaving the relationship before you get cheated on, or whatever, however this applies, right? But there's still a level of allowing yourself to shift your perspective, to see what this is teaching you. How can I view this differently in me walking away from this, or what I'm being guided to walk away from, what I'm being forced to walk away from? How can I see how this is actually helping me? How can I see the benefit in this? See what I'm saying? That's what some of you are being asked to do at this time, and that is what's going to actually carry you forward into your next timeline, into this new life that you're coming into. Okay, but you're not going to see that unless you are willing to, unless you even ask. I'm not saying you have to ask, but it will help you. You'll benefit in asking by saying, you know what, Spirit, please show me, please help me see this better. Help me see my situation better than I had initially seen it. Please help me see this situation better than my ego is wanting me to see it right now. Please support me in seeing how this is actually helping me in some way, how this perceived loss or sacrifice is actually helping me to get to what I want. Please show me, even in small ways, however you're able to show me, please support me in showing me these things. Okay, let's try this again. So, closing message from this new deck that was gifted. Affirmation cards for a badass. Okay, so let's close out. Message for the collective. I think you used the most at this time. Let's see. This message for the collective. If you use the most at this time, please. The highest and greatest good only, and nothing less. These cards are cute, but they're kind of on the flimsy side, I notice. Aesthetically pleasing, but a little flimsy. Probably a deck I wouldn't have bought for myself. Just saying. For the collective, Spirit, what is the message? Affirmation. Okay. And it's funny because right as that came out, I was guided to switch decks to this one. So I show up as my most authentic self every single day. Okay. So make sure that you show up as your authentic self every single day. I don't refer to myself as the B word anymore, but this one at the bottom does say I'm a badass B and I walk like I fucking own the place. So for those that don't mind the word, right? Still, I would say that I'm a badass goddess and I walk in like I own the place. I walk like I fucking own the place. I will say that. So that's just a personal preference. No shade to those who don't mind. So let's see, anything else, Spirit, for the collective? And if you're a man watching this, you can still apply the same thing. Walk like you're a god and you own the place. Another create and creation. You're being asked to connect with your creative side in whatever way feels best. This part of you needs extra attention right now. It needs to be expressed in a bigger way. Okay. Ask for help, healing, presence. So create. Okay. So now's the time to really create what it is that you want. Allow yourself to be present in that, right? And whatever comes to you. So that way you're not only receiving the idea, the concept of what you're being guided to create, but you're also able to channel in the next action steps to create it. Maybe who you need to reach out to, what resources are required, what resources you already have on hand that you can use towards this, right? The plan that you need to create, right? What you want, what is the ultimate result, right, of whatever it is that you're trying to create. Okay. So, collective, that's what I have for you. I trust that this reading touches and reaches those that need it. If you did enjoy it, if it did resonate, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Please drop them below. Otherwise, you know what to do. I love y'all so much. And until next time.